Yeah, here.
Chicka, chicka.
Yeah.
Kill Bill and Rev. We don't suck.
Ooh.
All right, partner. Let's keep on rolling, baby.
What's good, y'all?
It's me, your friend, Fred Durst.
And it's me, Mine Cock and Mine Balls.
Sick. Fucking, you're sick. You're sick. You are a sick man. Get out of here.
I've got an illness. So how's everyone doing today? And by everyone, I mean you, Bill.
I'm doing, everybody. I am doing fantastic. If I was a vampire, I would say fantastic. But I'm not. I am not as interesting as a vampire. How are you, my squire?
I'm doing mantastic.
Damn, dude.
Fantastic.
You can't say mantastic because you are not a man. You are but an alien.
I am but an alien.
An alien butt.
As are you. You are a butt ugly Martian. You remember butt ugly Martians?
Oh shit. Damn, dude, I forgot about that. You just sent me down a road that may or may not involve PTSD.
I remember I got cereal that you remember when cereals used to have discs in them, like compact discs?
Hell yeah.
And I got one that was like really small that almost looked like a GameCube CD. Mm-hmm. And it was Butt Ugly Martians. And I was just so excited because like getting a toy was kind of cool, but getting a compact disc in your cereal was like, damn. Oh, you associated like great stuff with CDs. It was either going to be music, which is always great, or films, which were always great. When you're young, you know, everything's great to you. Or video games, which are obviously amazing. And I was incredibly disappointed. I remember even back then being disappointed, but somehow fooling myself into still like spending a lot of time trying to do stuff with that CD. It's like, it just felt like, oh, that's my toy for the rest of the day. I have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like when you're younger, it was a lot easier for me to force myself to just do some dumb shit like that. I don't know.
What do you think is the best thing you ever found in a cereal box? Like, what was your favorite toy or whatever that you got out of a cereal box?
Glock 9.
Damn.
The disappointment came with no bullets. So.
Oh, that's rough, buddy. That's rough. You couldn't get to capping.
Well, actually, okay, honest answer. Oh, man. I don't know. I think it was like... I don't remember, to be honest. There was lots of stuff. One of my most fond memories was not even to do with something that came in the box. It was the box itself. Because it was the Hercules one, the Disney's Hercules.
Yeah.
Cereal, where on the back you could cut the characters out.
Oh, I remember that. That was a thing for sure. Yeah.
And that was tight because then, like, I felt like, because I really was a huge fan of a lot of the Disney animations, and that one in particular resonated with me at the time. I loved all the squiggly lines they had in everything.
Yeah.
And so I cut those out, and I spent so much time playing with those cutouts. So I recall that very fondly. What about yourself?
I think two memories come to mind. One of them was it was a box. It wasn't even a toy. It was just the box itself gave me joy. Did you ever have Pokemon cereal?
I don't think I did, man. I'm jealous. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. There was I never saw it. It must have been like super limited. Like I think they have it now still. Like they like remade it or made a new one, or you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I had a box and it had Articuno on the front of it, which I thought was real fucking random.
Yeah.
But I'm almost positive it had Articuno on the front of it. If it wasn't like just based around Articuno, then he was definitely just there, you know?
That's tight. Articuno is one of my favorite Pokemon too, so that's like, that's sick.
Yeah, for sure. And the cereal was good. It just tasted kind of like Lucky Charms, if I remember correctly. But yeah, there's that. And then, okay, also, when I was a kid, I was really young. Like I was like maybe 5 or 6 years old. Mm-hmm. There was this, I don't remember what cereal it was, but it was one of those things where you could like mail in something and they'll send you like a nice toy. You see what I'm saying? Like you had to mail it in, and it wasn't like a sweepstakes. It was like they would send it to you, but you had to mail it in. It was free though.
Right.
It was something like you had to eat like 3 boxes or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
I see. Right.
But it was something that we had all the time.
Yeah.
And it was a Darkwing Duck toy, and I loved Darkwing Duck when I was really young.
Same.
And so like I was so excited for it, and I remember getting it in the mail, and it took forever. Like it was like because like you know my mom sent it off, and then it took like 2 weeks to process, and then it was like 2 weeks to get there.
Right,
You know how it is. Like
yeah.
it's like, you know. And so I finally got it, and it was like actually not that sick, but just because I hyped it up so much, it was just literally him on the little like I think it's like a not a bicycle, but like a motorcycle. It was either a motorcycle or a car, but I remember it being like a thing where it was like you could see him on it. So I'm thinking it was a motorcycle.
That's dope.
You could like wind it back and it would just go forward. That was its whole deal.
Yeah.
So I think that was the dopest one I remember, even though it really wasn't that sick. I remember being like, holy fuck.
Yeah. It's weird because when I was a kid, it felt like those were almost kind of like events. Like you would talk about it with people at school, like, oh, this cereal has like this coming with it. Or like another example would be like Happy Meals or just like toy bundles with any like Burger King deals, McDonald's or anything like that. There were legitimately certain deals that I looked forward to, where I'd see the commercial and I'd be like, yo, we gotta go to McDonald's. I have to have this.
We gotta go.
I mean, do you have what's your memory of like your favorite toy from a Happy Meal? Or it doesn't have to be McDonald's. It could be from like any fast food place where you basically got a burger, you got some fries, and a toy, and the toy was the dopest. What was the dopest toy you ever got?
There's this one's also a toss up. There's three that I think of. Okay, two of them are definitely like cooler than the last one. So I'll do the last one first.
Okay.
The first one was the least cool was I remember going and they had it was some kind of like Spider-Man toy when I was pretty young. I was like maybe 7 or 8.
Yeah, I was obsessed with Spider-Man.
And it was at McDonald's. And like I said to the lady, because we went inside and I was with my grandparents, and I was just like, I want a Venom toy, please. Like if you could,
right,
let me get a Venom, you know? And she was just like, I don't know what that is. Like, because this is kind of before Spider-Man being like, this is before the movies and stuff. So I think that it was just like not as like mainstream to like know who Venom is.
Right.
And I remember being like, no, he's like, you know, it's like he's either like blue or black. I didn't know depending on like what kind it was, you know, because sometimes he's been black, sometimes he's been blue.
Right.
And I was like, he was like a bad Spider-Man. And she was just like, oh, a bad Spider-Man. Okay. And then like, I look in the thing like right after she hands it to me, and it's Doc Ock.
No.
And I was just like, I've never liked Doc Ock. I think Doc Ock is like the lamest looking fucking.
I loved the Doc Ock as a kid. Are you kidding me? Oh my god.
Nah,
I love
dude.
Venom, but I love Doc Ock because he had like those fucking the 4 metal like tentacles.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I was like, damn, he doesn't even have to get his hands dirty. He could do shit like they're additional extremities, and they stretch so far, and they were metallic. So I always thought that like if you try to punch one, you'd break your arm. I don't know. I thought it was pretty tight. He looked lame. Don't get me wrong, the glasses and everything.
Yeah,
but
the bowl cut.
I just thought the bowl cut, that was kind of fresh. But I thought just having those metal tentacles coming out your back was pretty ballin'.
But I mean, like, imagine like wanting Venom, and you're like, I want the bad Spider-Man, and then
Yeah,
they give
that's
you.
disappointing. How did she even think that's the bad Spider-Man?
I think maybe because she didn't know who the fuck Spider-Man was, and she's like, oh, he has like legs like a spider. Technically speaking, he is a he is an arachnid. Because he has 8. Well, I don't think that's how that works, but anyway, but he's the closest thing to an arachnid they got. So
right.
But yeah, like I was really bummed out about that. But then like I went back the next time, and it was this other lady in there, and I was like, I want the Venom, and then she was just like, he's my favorite too. And she put it in there.
And it was Doc Ock again.
She was Doc Ock in there? No, so that'd be really funny. No, and then the other two were just Pokemon related, just because Pokemon was such a big part of my life when I was really young.
Yeah.
And well, I guess even now. But like there was one it was KFC, had the little, they were sort of like Beanie Babies. they were Pokemon. And I remember asking, I would ask for the toy I wanted all the time, and I would never get it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, you're blowing my mind. As a kid, I never did that. I was just like, I thought of it as like a lottery, you know? Like, I was hoping I'd get something dope.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. But I was all like, because like I went in there and I knew they had a Dratini, and I wanted a Dratini real bad. And I was like, can I get the Dratini? Like, she knew what the fuck a Dratini was. And so she gave me a Zubat, but I like the Zubat a lot. So I just like I was like, I'm gonna let that ride.
Aw. I'm gonna let it slide this time, bitch.
Yeah, this time. But yeah, Burger King did those cards, those like gold-plated cards.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that at all.
I vaguely recall.
Like I still have I think it's a Poliwhirl and a Jigglypuff, and they're just like Pokemon cards, but they're like gold-plated, and they're really fucking sick.
Oh, that's tight. They're probably worth a lot now.
You had to buy those though. Like, it was a thing where it was like $5 for one of those. Just like, it wasn't like, it didn't come with your meal. You had to. It was just a thing that they only sold there.
Yeah.
So
I vaguely remember getting a Pokemon toy at Burger King. I may be wrong.
I'm sure they had them.
That was like one of the best things for sure. But what was the other thing? You had a list of 3.
Oh, well, it was the cards and that.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, yo, there was another one though. Hold on. There's another one that I just remembered.
Oh.
There was this. It was from Taco Bell, and it was I didn't know that we were getting it. We just like went to Taco Bell. Like, it looked kind of like an N64 controller, but it was like a ball in it, and then you could like twist it around to make the ball go through like a maze.
Right.
And you were supposed to try to get to the bottom, but it was like Mario Kart themed.
Yeah.
So it had to have been like right when Mario Kart 64 came out.
Huh. Okay. Yeah.
It was something like
That's
that.
dope.
I don't remember exactly what it was.
See, man, my story's not as cool. My most fond memory, the toy I spent the most time with, was a G.I. Joe toy that I got at McDonald's. And
G.I. Joe slaps.
And it slapped. I mean, the legs didn't move at all. Only the arms could kind of move.
Right.
And I think I got the parachute dude, or he had like the stance like as if he was holding on to a parachute or some shit. And I remember I was like, damn, I got an action figure with my Happy Meal. I just, I was like over the moon. Like, I got a toy. I got an extra toy. My mom was really careful to not spoil me growing up. So I would often ask for things and just not get them. For instance, Pokemon cards, for the longest time, I just didn't have any. Like, friends at school would take pity on me and give me like a trainer card, and I'd be like, oh, it's got a Weedle in the corner. This is technically a Weedle Pokemon card.
This is it.
True story, by the way. That was the Switch or Swap card. That was my first Pokemon card.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
With that and like...
Yeah. It has Weedle on it, and then you would go around. Well, that was the thing I would do too. Like, it wasn't the same thing, but like when we would buy Pokemon packs, like someone told me that like the Pokemon packs would be worth something one day, like just the packs themselves, like, the booster pack. And like it had Venusaur on it. So I was just like, dude, I have a Venusaur. Like, look at it. None of my friends have a Venusaur.
Yeah, that's cool. I was definitely like that. So I had that and an electric energy Pokemon card for the longest time. And then there's this one girl. She was so cool. We were all like six, maybe 7 or 8 at the very most. And she gave me a shiny Raichu. And I think it was Team Rocket's Raichu or some shit. I don't know.
Oh yeah, those Rocket, that whole series where it was like the Rockets Raichu or the Rockets
Charizard,
and also the Gym Leader ones.
And the Gym Leader ones,
those were
tight.
like,
yeah.
Ooh,
I love those.
I had my favorite card of all time to this day is Sabrina's Gengar.
Oh yeah,
because in the Japanese one it has fog in it.
Oh,
it's really
that's
fucking sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that at Christmas time. Like, it was just like I opened my mom got me like at the Books A Million down here, you could buy the Japanese packs. And she bought me like 3 packs because they were like more expensive, and that was like my Christmas.
Yeah, that's tight, man. I would have been so jealous as a kid. I just remember going out on the playground and everybody had like so many cards. Everyone was walking around with books. with where they kept their cards in, right? And just like have shinies and shinies and shinies. It used to blow my mind and make me super jealous. And so one time I went with my grandma to a bookstore, and at the cash register I saw some like booster packs. I was like, "Can I have one?" And she was a lot cooler with spoiling me, I guess, than my mom was. So she's like, "Sure," and it ended up being a Japanese.
Grandmas work like that.
Yeah, and it ended up being a Japanese booster pack. And this is before Gold and Silver games came out in the West, and it was so they were all Japanese, and I didn't know what they were, but it had fucking shiny Steelix. And I didn't need to speak Japanese to see that in the corner it said it evolved from Onyx, and it was just blowing my mind, and I couldn't figure out what type it was because I'm like, wait, this doesn't look like rock type. What is this? What? I've never seen this. And that was like the wildest, just like me sitting there and then looking through some of those other Pokemon, and they all looked so dope. You know, the second generation had some real well cute and like cool design Pokemon, and a lot of them had like this ancient kind of like Aztec look to them. And I was really fucking with that at the time. So,
hell yeah.
The point is, though, I definitely didn't get spoiled much. So, like, if I was good, my family went shopping, and if I behaved well and I didn't complain, then at the end we got to stop by Toys R Us. It's not guaranteed that I was gonna get anything there, but we could at least browse. And browsing, like, my favorite thing about it.
Yeah, browsing Toys R Us is like the best thing in the world.
For sure. So that was worth it. And so to me, if I did get a toy, it'd be like a special occasion. So that's why when I got that G.I. Joe with my Happy Meal, it felt like, oh my God. I just remember playing with it all day on our way home. Like I was like doing parkour with the G.I. Joe on our way home. And then when I got home, I was just running around doing shit with it and like introduced it to my other toys, which at the time, I think, like when I was growing up, the action figures I had prior to like discovering Pokemon and everything, when that came out, all of my toys were pretty much Batman action figures and Spider-Man action figures. So getting a G.I. Joe action figure, and it felt like for free almost, right? Like I didn't deserve it. Was great because it's like, oh shit, I have an addition to that universe. Because you know, you kind of built your own lore and universe, and each Spider-Man and each Batman had like their own stories and reasons why they can all exist within the same universe. So it was really cool. Like it gave you hours and hours of more fun. So I fuck with that. And also, cars later down the road, Hot Wheels. When I got a bunch of Hot Wheels, I used to make stories with them too. Like, oh, this one's got this, that, and they're like brothers. And it got to the point.
These cars are brothers.
I loved role playing like the toys. I did the same with like I used to collect fancy rocks on the beach. Like if we were on the beach, come home and then like collect all these rocks and make stories out of them. And if there were two rocks that looked similar, but one was large and the other smaller, then they were related. But like there's an older brother and a younger brother. I did shit like that.
Yeah. I did stuff like that too. My question for you was we would do this thing. It was like me, Shane, a couple of my other friends. We were like really small. We would do this thing where it would be like almost like we would call it like everything versus everything. And it was like you pick someone from a series or like whatever you like, right? Like I could pick Goku, like I want to be Goku,
right? And he could pick Silver Surfer,
and then the other person is like, I want to be Spider-Man,
right.
And I want to be blah blah blah. I want to be Superman or whatever, right? And obviously, like in our heads, Goku won everything.
Yeah.
You know, because like we also didn't know the like full scope of some of these people's powers, like Superman. Like we didn't know that like he's as strong as he needs to be, etc. You know?
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Yeah, but like our thing is like. Our go-to for like, because we would always have lore behind it. Like it would never just be like, then Spider-Man showed up. You know what I mean? It would always be like, and then in Spider-Man's universe, a portal opened, and that was like our thing. Right. It was like portals would just open constantly.
Well, for it to work, like basically multiverses connecting together, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but like I just like appreciate how casual we were with it. Like we were just kind of like, and then a portal opened and he was like, shit, I better go through this.
Yeah.
And like none of us like thought about it like other than like yeah, portal opened, and then they were like, "What's this?" over and over and over and over again. And I don't know why we didn't ever go.
I think it's because we grew up on Dragon Ball, and it was like for a lot of people like our age, that was our introduction to like the concept of a multiverse, right?
Yeah.
With the whole future Trunks thing, it's kind of like, oh, okay, so there's multiple universes. So when Trunks helps him out, it doesn't help his own universe. When you're young, it's kind of difficult to grasp, and you're like, how does that work? And then as you grow up, you appreciate that was your introduction to the multiverse like idea. And so it's not too crazy to imagine that someone else from a different place, space, or time can like teleport the same way future Trunks did, right? So I guess that kind of makes sense. Like a portal opened up and fucking Spider-Man came out of it or whatever.
Yeah, that was like our go-to. And then it was like always on some like Mortal Kombat, like there's a tournament and it's to I
love
determine
tournaments.
who's, shit like that. Like we would always do tournaments, and like we would never actually fight, but it would always just kind of be like we would just decide on the fly who would win. Like it would be like I would like Kamehameha someone and then be like Spider-Man jumped out the way at the last second. Also, to be fair, this is kind of before when we were doing this is before like Frieza Saga, like Goku going Super Saiyan. This is like prior to us being aware of Super Saiyans in general. Mm-hmm. And so the idea of like Goku versus Spider-Man wasn't that crazy at this point. It was just like a really strong ninja who could shoot lasers versus like another guy with superpowers.
Yeah.
So, but Goku would still always win because we always liked Goku the best.
Yeah.
That was like our, or we would do Pokemon same way. We'd like have like a trainer and he would have Pokemon.
Go ahead, with the Pokemon stuff is interesting, right? Because like I don't know, like I remember having those Pokemon arguments, and it's always somehow Mewtwo always won in the end, because like that was my favorite like legendary Pokemon, just like the idea of Mewtwo being the strongest,
right?
But in terms of superheroes, I was growing up with a friend who we were both comic book nerds. We would buy comic books every week, and specifically I would say mostly the Marvel Universe stuff. Like I think I watch cartoons of like both Marvel Universe stuff and DC. With DC, I kind of like Batman stuff. I like Batman, I like Robin. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a huge fan of The Flash or Superman and stuff like that. I was a bit of a fan. I had like some of the old animations on VHS and everything, but it didn't resonate the same way as like specifically Batman, Spider-Man, and the X-Men did for me when I was growing up.
I always look at the Superman as like the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Or like the Yankees of like superheroes. It's just like the guy who always wins. And so I was just kind of like, I never liked him like as a character that much.
It was just harder to relate, and it's just, I don't know, like everything about it was kind of a little lamer. I also just liked the universe within which they built Batman and the Joker, because I also really liked the Joker. I think a lot of people growing up reading or watching Batman start to kind of enjoy Joker's presence within that universe. And
yeah, for sure.
But whenever we were like having those hypotheticals with my friend, he was a bigger comic book nerd than me. I would maybe be able to buy one comic book a month or a week at the most. He'd buy like a stack of comic books. And so I'd be like, okay, I'm choosing Spider-Man, because I would choose like not necessarily who's the strongest, it's just like who I like the most. And I was like, well, Spider-Man, he's never lost because he's like smart. And like he's sarcastic, so his spirit is always up, and like he's young, so he can, I don't know, like I just thought like you can't stop Spider-Man. And he would always like pull up characters like Galactus that at the time I had very limited information on. And I'm like, well, okay, so Spider-Man would shoot him in the eyes. He's like, his eyes are bigger than planets. Well, Spider-Man can't do anything. And it would be always lame, And that was my the person I talked to with all these.
You know what's funny? I bet that there is, in the multiple fucking like timelines and universes and canons, I bet there has been a time that Galactus has lost to Spider-Man. Like I would bet my right shoe that at some point Galactus got shot in the eye by Spider-Man.
So I like that idea, you know, of like just Spider-Man beating anyone. But he would always, he would bring up different ones, but I remember Galactus was his like trump card. And Silver Surfer as well was another one, but Galactus was like his real go-to.
All those characters are so lame, though.
They're so
like,
broken.
They're just big and strong and broken. That's their whole deal.
No disrespect to the people who like those characters. I mean, like the Silver Surfer definitely has some like, he could be a very interesting character. I'm sure Galactus is like a very interesting character in some of the Marvel universes, right? But in the grand scheme of things, when you're a kid and you're like 9 and you're just like, who would win in a fight? And you're having this hypothetical fight, like pulling up someone like Galactus as Spider-Man was just lame. You know? I don't know.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
My question to you is like, in the Dragon Ball Z universe, how strong do you think Spider-Man is? Like, where do you think his power level lies?
Somewhere between like Chaozu and Bulma.
Wait, is Chaozu supposed to be weaker than Bulma?
No, it's just a bit stronger.
Oh, you started from the top end. Okay.
Yeah, Bulma is the peak. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, all jokes aside, I think he's smarter, so he would defeat Chaozu. I think he could probably outwit some of the characters within Dragon Ball universe, but I don't think he could even beat someone like Krillin, you know? Realistically.
Yeah, do you think he's got Yamcha? You think he could beat Yamcha?
I feel like Yamcha's dumb enough to somehow like lose to Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, it's like there's like in these hypotheticals, you kind of have to think like, oh, what would they do? It's kind of like why a lot of those hypotheticals, Batman is a great character to go for, because canonically, he's sort of like he's a psychopath who prepares for everyone's. Like, he's aware of everyone's weaknesses and is, like, ready to, at any moment, he's ready to kill all of his friends if he needs to, just in case. Because he's, like, he's insane. He's a lunatic, right?
Yeah.
So Batman is, like, a cool character in that regard because I could see him. Maybe you could have an argument of Batman versus Goku, you know? Because it's not, like, a straight-up fist fight that I think in my head. I think of, like, how does that like shit even play out? Like, how does this conversation start between them? How does it play out? And I could see Batman being heartless enough to defeat Goku, and I think Goku wouldn't just randomly beat the shit out of a normal man and kill him, you know?
Yeah. I think the reason why it's so hard to put other characters in the Dragon Ball universe is because, like, after a certain point, like, they've ascended, like, okay, like, early on in Dragon Ball Z, they've already, like, ascended the strength of a mere man by, like, hundreds to thousands of times.
Yes.
So the idea of, like, okay, like, Batman, he can fight real good, so, like, is he even stronger than Mr. Satan?
Right. I assume he is stronger than Mr. Satan because he's got the, like, his suit. Like, it also depends which Batman you go with, but, like, you know, he's got those suits that are, like, really strong and can take a punch and all could deal extra damage.
He went toe-to-toe with Superman in that
exactly.
fucking
So I imagine
suit,
he,
you
like,
know?
with his suit, he could go toe-to-toe with quite a lot of characters within Dragon Ball universe. But again, I just don't think Batman would be the type to try to antagonize Goku and like, lead into a one-on-one fight. I think Batman is always a lot more cunning, and Goku's demise is like would have to be like his own character flaws or like his strengths. You know, he's a great gullible guy. I say great guy. Okay, he comes across as like a happy-go-lucky, gullible guy, and Batman and characters like that play off of weaknesses like that. So you could make an argument for that. If it was just a one-on-one, straight-up fight, and like Batman didn't have time to prepare and Goku didn't have time to prepare, Goku would probably whoop his ass, right? So it's that's how the hypotheticals used to play out. Because I would try to build context and narratives, and my friend would be like, no, they get teleported right in front of one another and just like, bam, they have to go at it. And it's like, well, then like you're taking away people's strengths.
Yeah, see, that's not, but that doesn't like play up to the strengths of, that plays up to the strengths of certain characters.
Yeah, and weaknesses of others.
Like,
yeah.
okay, like Batman, if Batman were put in front of him, like, does he have his suit on? Is he butt-ass naked? Could butt-ass naked Batman beat Goku? My thing with that is like with him beating Superman, it's like, okay, kryptonite exists. It's a thing that exists in the universe. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, clear weakness that you can just kind of like, if you got that, you're good. You know, that's why I would keep it in his belt, you know? But like, what would Goku's weakness be? Food?
I think it's his, yeah, exactly. Like, it would have to be his stupidity, right? His gullibility.
Yeah.
Like, it would, you can't, I don't think it would be anything like physical right there and then, unless like Batman took somebody hostage.
Maybe, yeah.
And then like try to disarm Goku, so to speak, by getting him to go somewhere where his powers are nullified, or I don't know. It would have to be some shit like that. But you always take a leap of imagination.
You have to fight me in the sun, but I'm outside of the sun.
But that shit was fun. I again, I don't think I ever won those hypotheticals as a kid, though, because I just always go to Batman or Spider-Man. I think most of the time Spider-Man. I had like a very intense Spider-Man period as a kid where it was just like, that's my favorite hero.
Spider-Man's a perfect hero for a kid, I feel like, because like he kind of thinks like a young person would think, and is like,
he is a kid, right? He's like a teenager.
Yeah.
And
he's a teenager, and he's like,
and he's uncomfortable and awkward or whatever. So he's like not perfect like Superman, where he's handsome. No, he's like, he's flawed. So you think of like, well, I'm not perfect. But then when he puts on the mask, he like becomes someone completely different. He's snarky. He's funny. He's quick. He's it feels like unstoppable, and he's smart too. You know, it's not just like brute strength. He's clever, and it's a combination of his abilities, and also that whole ability to do with the shooting web. To me, is a lot more creative than just like he punch good, he kicks strong, right? It's like he has to be creative with his powers, like within the limitations that he has to think of. That's kind of like why I like. Well, I think someone like Luffy from One Piece is very creative, because his power is like he can stretch like rubber. It on paper that doesn't scream strength, you know. But when you see how like he applies his powers, it's like, oh, this is really creative, and like that's just more fun for me than just someone being straight up strong. Like, that's why I hated the Flash, man. He, in some of the universes, he could travel faster than than like light, which means he could go back in time. And if his single punch, like since force is mass times acceleration, then he could just like, with a single flick of his fingers, just explode the universe and shit like that. And
yeah,
it just, to me, it was just sounded like, this does not sound like on any level I can relate to this character, A, and I feel like you need to be able to relate yourself somehow with the character, and B, it was just, it was too insane. It was too much. I don't need something to be blown out of like proportion, like massive universe strength. He can like clap his cheeks and the whole universe like creates a new branch of multiverses. I don't need something like that to be interested. That's why, you know, Spider-Man fighting like heroes that honestly Superman would probably destroy in like a second or two. Spider-Man, it would take him maybe a whole arc, but it was interesting and it was engaging, and I really appreciated Spider-Man for that growing up, for sure.
Dogs are barking. Listen to him go.
Hey, so what do you say we do a little ad read?
An ad read? I thought we stopped doing those entirely, because that's how things work. Everything is static. It's on or it's off.
So, Bill, tell me, do you ever go out for a run and think to yourself, oh, God,
no,
I'm 20 minutes into my jog. I'm 20 minutes into my jog, and I need a shit. But I'm like 20 minutes away from home. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I don't want to go shit in the woods because a mountain lion will rip my dick off. But I want to keep jogging, and going home is 20 minutes. It's just, it's a dilemma. You didn't want to shit when you started running, but just it comes at you all at once, right? You're thinking to yourself,
yeah.
Huh.
Hold on. I have to go murder my dogs real quick.
Go for it.
Hey, shut up! Hey, they stopped. Nice. Yes, I have had to shit in the woods, and I did fear from my penis.
So I have a fantastic product for you, my friend. It's called the Booty Pack.
Oh, dude, please explain in great detail.
So the booty pack is like a little backpack that you attach. Instead of putting on your back, you put it on your ass. And as you run, you are able to deposit your logs directly into the backpack whilst you are still running. How incredible is that?
Damn, that's pretty crazy. That kind of just sounds like a diaper, though.
Well, let me tell you why it's not like a diaper. There's a few factors that distinguish it quite clearly from something like a diaper. For instance, you cannot piss in it. So there's that.
Okay.
And it's fashionable.
It is fashionable. I mean, I wear Gucci diapers, but those are so last year.
They are. They are. So, the booty pack is like the shit right now, bro. And no pun intended.
I get it, because you can shit in it. Yeah. Yo, you're crazy, bro. You're crazy,
so I know
bro.
that
You're nuts.
I know that you actually, we kept this kind of secret up until now, but you've been wearing one throughout the whole recording process today.
Yes.
It's your first time trying it on. I just want to I know you're not jogging, but still, you're in the middle of something and you can't be interrupted. How do you feel about the product? What's your experience so far?
Well, I just like how it cradles your ass. It's got a nice, it just feels good, And when you poop in it, which I've pooped in it several times since we've been talking, when you poop in it, it's nice, bro. It's warm. Mm-hmm. Makes me happy. It's nice. It's made out of some kind of
adamantium
material. It's the highest lasting book bag. It's it's the hardest material. It'll never break. I've sat on it several times. I'm sitting on it right now. I'm just stewing in my own shit as we speak.
Now, the professionals don't recommend sitting on the booty pack. They recommend running with it. So just, we wanted to disclose that the way that Bill is appropriating the product is unique to him.
I've gained almost a foot in sitting height, just because it's just it's adamantium and it's hard. I thought it was going to be soft, but it's not. But it does cradle my ass.
Actually, it comes in different materials. So we give you the most expensive premium pack, the adamantium booty pack. But it also comes in straw, which is great because it's light, it's natural. But the problem is if you expect a runny shit, like a diarrhea, you've got to invest in a more expensive booty pack. But fortunately, for first-time buyers, especially if you use the promo code ChibiChubby, send me here for the booty pack so I can shit while I run to 7-Eleven. On what was the website, Bill? You've got it in front of you?
bootypack.biz/bootypack adamantium edition or straw edition / promotional codes.
So there you go. And there's
/ whatever the URL we just put.
And so there it is, you guys.
/ you could just put the / at the end there, just so it's solidarity.
And so there you have it. Okay, no more backslashes. If you're one of the first 10 people to buy, you make an order with them, regardless of whether you go with the straw one or the adamantium one, you're going to get a special limited edition ChibiChubby branded booty pack along with it for free, which is great. Be excited for it. It's made out of denim material, and it's great. It's got our faces on it.
Yes, but they're in denim and they're the same color as the rest of it.
Also, they're inside. Our faces, they misprinted it on the inside of the backpack rather than the outside. Is There's nothing.
It was just a happy little accident.
It's a happy little accident because at the end of the day, you know, like knowing that we're next to you in some sort of way, and you're supporting us, and now we're supporting you. That makes us feel good about what we're doing, you know. So yeah, go cop that, and thank you to our sponsors. We really appreciate it. Glad to be monetized. You know, nothing beats being
meet me
monetized.
around back, sponsor, because we're gonna do some gigging together.
Right. So
Whatever that means.
There we have it. Thank you.
So what's been up, man? How's your daughter?
Everything's been good, man. It's been real busy. As everyone will see in the coming months, we've been busy doing a lot of stuff. We've actually been busy since, I would say, April.
April.
You know, the couple months leading up to the LA trip and everything. Actually, no, from the start of the year, we dropped New Moon, we dropped Vestiges, we did so many second edition reprints of various records, and we released a lot of music, and then we went to LA and we did a whole lot of stuff there, and some of that stuff we've still been working on or dealing with, and we've got a lot planned for this year still. I know that we're slowly approaching the end of the year, but we've still got a lot to show you guys, and I just can't wait to just let it all happen and see how it all plays out. I've been really excited, but yeah, for the most part, it's just been busy, but exciting.
Yeah, indeed. Very busy, very exciting. I do want to give everybody a life update.
Oh shit!
I'm pregnant. No, I recently purchased the Final Fantasy VIII for the Nintendo Switch, the remaster, and I got the Lionheart, the Strongest Gunblade, on disc 1, which is a thing I've been trying to do since I was like 8 years old, and I finally did it.
Nice.
I did it.
Congrats, dude.
And it's something that I've been working really hard on it. Okay. You know how hard it is to get this fucking Gunblade? It's dumb. Okay, you have to go and you have to get 20 El Noil cards from just random people.
At this point, Bill literally explains in great detail how to get the early Lionheart upgrade in Disc 1 of Final Fantasy VIII. He spends about 20 minutes doing so. In the interest of time, I will tell you a fun fact instead. Rab once fucked a full-grown adult male koala. Bill watched.
But it was a really long process, but I got it.
But you did it. And you know what you didn't get? Your old account on Twitter back.
No.
So I actually wanted to quickly talk about that because I don't know if we talked about it on the previous episode or the one before that. But as some of you may know, Bill got his Twitter account suspended almost a month ago at this point. We weren't sure why.
Still not sure why.
Still not sure why. And Bill was trying to get in touch with Twitter. It turns out that they don't have any customer service that you can call over the phone anymore. There's only one email address that you can send your queries to. Bill did so several times. He's received 0 responses still. It's been a month now since. And so Bill ultimately abandoned that Twitter account and created a new one and swapped the handles around. So if you still follow at IamKillBill, that is his current account. It's just that if you used to follow his old account, you might need to go and look up at IamKillBill and make sure you're following his current account because he had to start from scratch.
Yeah. That follow doesn't carry over because like I had like 14K and now I'm like at like 4.6K. Like I lost a lot of followers.
Yeah.
And it's been kind of like, it was really frustrating because like it came at a time in my life when I was like, I need to use my Twitter for things like for business stuff. And it's just lame. It's also like this thing. You get this like things like people that you think are cool that followed you. Yeah. And you don't want to like hit them up because they're busy, but you don't want to hit them up and be like, hey, follow me again. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially people I didn't know like that. Like, okay, like for example, like JPEG Mafia followed my old account. Yeah. I don't know why. He followed it a long time ago. He never like responded to my DMs or anything, but I was like, holy shit, JPEG Mafia follows me. Cool. And like now he doesn't. And now I'm sad.
Or Justin
Wang followed me randomly. Well, not too randomly. I guess we were in like a podcast recommended thing, and I know he like really fucks with like podcasts and stuff.
And then there's other YouTubers and so forget just the influencers, but also rappers and just friends as well. Yeah. So it does suck, and plus it is one of your key platforms for you to reach out to your audiences. audiences, whether it's for YouTube or for music and stuff like that. So it was very frustrating for that to just like, for no reason, for as far as we know, for no reason to like no longer be accessible to you. So thanks, Twitter.
Yeah, it's real shitty. I don't know. It's I'm not gonna sit here like I was really like upset about it, but here's the thing, right? I've noticed that there's not really even though I lost a lot of followers, my engagement is the same and or more now. So it's kind of like I don't really care if the numbers aren't there because like the same people who are engaging with me are following me.
Yeah, for sure.
You know how it is. Like you get Twitter followers and sometimes they just lurk or sometimes they like just they follow you and then they don't really care anymore or whatever.
It's the same with YouTube. If you look at people who have like 20 or 30 million subscribers, they're not getting 10 or 15 million views per video. They'll get maybe 500,000 sometimes, and it's like, well, how does that happen? It's just a lot of people get accounts, they follow or subscribe. After a while, they abandon those accounts or just whatever, right? So it happens. That being said, make sure you do go on Twitter. If you have a Twitter account, please follow Bill at IamKillBill.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, follow your boy Rev at IamRev.
Wow, dude, way to just shoehorn your brand in there. What a fool. You think you're taking me for a fool?
Hey, man, I can help you out a little bit, but you know, I gotta get mine, you know what I mean?
You gotta get mine. That's you right now. You gotta get mine. That's how you sound when you rap it. I gotta get mine.
You're fired.